The style of the UC Band entered a new era when Glenn Richter became the 10th director in 1977. Richter, a native Texan, had experience in the techniques of the Southern marching bands. He brought their controlled and polished style, replacing the chair step with a gliding low step. He also added the color guard. Fellow Texan Randy Bass was the staff arranger, scoring intricate and complex music for a large band. One of Richter's biggest frustrations was a lack of support for the band from the College Conservatory of Music. Even in a performance-oriented college like CCM, the marching band was not a high priority, and the rapid turnover of deans did not help. The relationship between CCM and the band showed the first signs of turning sour. The Southern influences of Glenn Richter and Randy Bass brought changes in style to both the band and Kappa Kappa Psi. Many of their traditions are still used today. After 2 years, however, Richter left for a short stay at Michigan, then went to a permanent position back at Texas. Dr. Terrence Milligan shared Richter's Texas roots. He came to UC from Northwest Missouri State University to become the 11th director of bands. He continued with the Southern style initiated by Richter. Upon arriving, UC welcomed their new director with an immediate crisis: no rehearsal space. The 170-piece band had less priority than the intramural and sports groups who monopolized use of the practice fields. Many practices were held in Schmidlap Gym on a scaled-down field made of masking tape. As homecoming drew closer, the band still had no practice area, so they suggested a boycott of the homecoming game. The situation grew tense, but ended when the university president convinced everyone it would be fatal to the band not to perform. In the summer of 1981, the newly revived local chapters of Kappa Kappa Psi and Tau Beta Sigma hosted a national convention at UC. This was a good year for the social chemistry at band camp, a chemistry which turned out to be a bomb, as the UC band said its last goodbye to Camp Swanakee. It was also a good year for music, under the riveting and hypnotic conducting skills of Dr. Milligan. The band produced their second album.
Varsity Vanities had laid dormant since the mid-1940s. This year, the student-run production made a comeback, appearing for a single steamy evening in May of 1983. The show reopened in Wilson Auditorium, then moved to the elegant Emory Theater, which served as home to Varsity Vanities for the next 6 years.
I got you, babe.
Dream of now, dream of then, dream of a love song.
Over the next few years, the band visited the abusive fans from Memphis, then Florida State. After being pelted with garbage and verbally harassed, the UC band went on to give an emotionally charged performance at FSU. The Florida State Band could only respond with a standing ovation. The mid-1980s marked a time of change for the football, basketball, and band programs. Faced with a crumbling Nippert Stadium, all home football games were played at Riverfront Stadium starting in 1984. Riverfront lacked the charm and history contained in Nippert and was only slightly warmed by the presence of UC fans. For 2 years, graduate assistant Tom Rohr took over leadership of the band. Most people still associate this time with Marchdowns and Friday Night Band. The band relied on strong student leadership to survive through the continuing changes. In 1986, the band said goodbye to the stadium band room for good, acquiring a dusty, pipe-filled room in the basement of Lawrence Hall. This became the new home of the Bearcat Bands. Room 13 underwent a massive renovation, becoming both a storage area and daily hangout for band members. Change continued as the basketball program at UC had its peaks and valleys. When Shoemaker Center was finished in 1989, it was the beginning of another peak. UC built a new arena, joined a new league, and started a winning team with an energetic new coach. Membership in varsity band soared. However, the revitalized basketball program brought an end to the Bear Kittens. In 1989, the athletic department premiered the UC Dance Team, a competitive dance group similar to the teams at Memphis State and Virginia Tech. Many feared that the competition for talented dancers may make either the Bear Kittens or the new dance team wither. Rather than favoring one over the other, those in charge made the unpopular decision to end the Bear Kittens.
From this time forward, band members eyed CCM with suspicion. In 1992, an undercurrent of mistrust grew behind the scenes. There were accusations that support and funding was being redirected from the band to other CCM groups. The students organized an effort to reform the band, and the athletic department also demanded more quality and support for their teams. The next season, the band severed their relationship with CCM, moving to the athletic department. The time of change did have an upside. For the first time in many years, UC basketball came to the forefront as the Bearcats advanced to the 1992 NCAA Final Four. The band shared in the riches of a successful basketball program, traveling to Dayton, Kansas City, and Minneapolis. Months after the tournament season, Dr. Milligan continued as CCM's Director of Wind Studies, but relinquished the band to Matthew McInturf. As interim director, McInturf did his part to keep the band alive during this rocky time. In 1994, Dr. Taryn Friends embarked on a partnership with the athletic department to rebuild the band. If the preceding 10 years could be characterized as a time of change, Dr. Friends' goal was to make the following 10 years solid and unwavering. Previously, Friends spent many years strengthening and creating music groups across the Midwest, working as an award-winning high school director. As the 13th director, Friends initiated programs that will allow alumni to support the band well into the future. Some programs and goals include scholarship endowments for band students, a new uniform fund, an equipment replacement program, permanent rehearsal facilities, and coordinated recruiting efforts for all facets of the band. At this time, Friend's skill as a motivator and organizer are as important to the band as his teaching and musical skills. Ralph Van Wy recognized this importance 30 years ago, joking that his job titles were superfluous. His real-life activity was coordinating. As musicians, you and I know that the music is the easy part for a band leader. It's the foundation on which a great program is built. The tough part is funneling the energy and talents of 170 people into a top-notch band. That task is something only 13 directors have shared over the last 75 years. But being a member of the UC bands is something thousands of privileged musicians share.
Each of us creates our own snapshot of the narrow world we experienced at UC. Our mental picture is as detailed or frantic as our own imagination allows, full of colors and faces, sunshine and clouds, secret spaces, and stadiums teeming with fans. It is a picture of things no other person will ever see again. And most important of all, it's a picture which is merely a single tile in the mosaic that is 75 years of the University of Cincinnati Bearcat Bands.